In the dusky sky, 30 silhouettes hovered, all of them were Earth's strongest warriors, existences surpassing the war god level. Luo Feng, Jia and the other three stood together, hovering a few hundred meters in the air. The last time Hong tried to kill the Grand Emperor, it ended in failure. Even though he managed to injure the Grand Emperor, Hong was injured too. Jia looked at the distant prehistoric level autojet. It's only been a few days, Luo Feng, your inauguration ceremony just ended, and now Hong wants to fight the Grand Emperor again? That's weird. The other three representatives were suspicious too. Everyone cared a lot about their reputation. When Hong fought the Grand Emperor, he failed the first time, everyone could understand. But if he didn't have any confidence and tried again, people would talk behind his back. I think the head has confidence. Luo Feng creased his eyebrows. Confidence in killing the Grand Emperor? Jia and the other representatives shook their heads. If he had confidence, the two Grand Emperors in the ocean would have been dealt with long ago. While the representatives were watching from high up in the air, large amounts of small fighter jets flew back to their respective bases. Everyone below representative level had returned to their bases. They had all seen the previous battle between Hong and the Grand Emperor. They knew how huge the commotion was. The moment they were caught in it, even the representatives could lose their lives if they weren't careful. Look, Hong and Thunder God. This time Hong and Thunder God are teaming up? In the air, the representatives all had excellent vision. Retreat, retreat, don't stay above the lake, stay further away, Luo Feng. It's easy to get caught in the air above the lake, whether it's your head or the Grand Emperor. A casual attack isn't something we can handle, don't be careless. Jia and the others said. Luo Feng followed and flew away. Misty Island's lake was quiet. The various bases were monitoring the movements of the lake. More than 30 councilmen dressed in black hovered in the air. Their attention was focused on Hong and Thunder God. The black-clothed Hong and the white-robed bald monk Thunder God flew side by side towards the center of the lake. Thunder God looked at Hong, saying softly, "Brother Hong, once the Tentacle Beast enters the lake, it's like a fish in water. But us human martial artists are also greatly weakened in the lake. You didn't succeed last time, but now that you've brought the Cloudcontact Vine, you're confident?" When humans were underwater, every movement they made would be obstructed by the currents. The faster the speed, the greater the resistance. Hong and Thunder God were indeed greatly restricted at the bottom of the lake. Beast Emperor, on the other hand, was very comfortable at the bottom of the lake. With the Cloudcontact Vine, I have a 30% chance of killing the Tentacle Beast. Even if I can't, I'll be able to return safely. Unless it's hiding its strength, I won't be injured again. Hong calmly looked down at the lake. What's more, the strongest thing under the lake is this Beast Emperor. It's the biggest obstacle to us getting the treasure. If we don't kill it, how can we get the treasure? Thunder God was taken aback. Indeed. If he didn't kill the Beast Emperor, he wouldn't be able to safely explore the underground. You're also helping the 5 countries and the HR Alliance. Thunder God laughed. And also helping me. I've said it before, treasures depend on fate. Just like the Soaring Shuttle, it was clearly in my hands, but I just couldn't use it. In LuoFeng's hands, it was only that powerful. The Soaring Shuttle is fated with him. Hong revealed a smile. This Cloudcontact Vine isn't originally from Earth. I haven't left Earth, yet this Cloudcontact Vine has fallen into my hands. It's also fated with me. Thunder God laughed. This bald head of mine looks like a monk. You're not bald, but you speak like a monk. You bald head, stay here and watch how I deal with that Tentacle Beast. The black-clothed Hong finished speaking. His entire body immediately became a black light, fiercely piercing into the lake. The surface of the lake only shook a little. The black-clothed Hong had already penetrated over 300 m deep into the mud and rock layer below. He quickly dived down. The sky gradually darkened. The 6 bases all lit up with lights. 30 silhouettes, like gods, floated in mid-air. Look, it's moving. Jia stared at the screen of his tactical communications watch. The other 3 representatives and Luo Feng all stared at the screen. On the screen was the huge silhouette of the Beast Emperor, and at this time, the silhouette that had been sitting there motionlessly suddenly moved, as though it had gone mad. 3 of its tentacles were madly moving. At the same time, its entire body swiftly charged upwards. This is a red dot, it represents Hong. Jia pointed at one of the red dots on one of the tentacles. A human's height wasn't even 2 m, and one tentacle was already 1500 m long. The difference between the two was shocking. Hong is swiftly moving. The Beast Emperor is also using its tentacles to retaliate. Look, the entire wilderness is shaking. Luo Feng and the others were shocked as they looked at the wilderness that was a few hundred li below. Because of the Beast Emperor's crazy retaliation, the violent tremors were transmitted to the ground, causing the entire wilderness to shake. One of the tentacles has broken. Luo Feng and the others stared at the screen. One of the tentacles had about a third of its length broken. Hong and the Beast Emperor are really fast. The Beast Emperor has already escaped into the lake. Oh, from the underground rock layer to the lake, its speed is indeed many times faster. Hong has also entered the lake from the rock layer to the lake. Even though his speed has increased quite a bit, it's obviously not as fast as the Beast Emperor. But it's clearly not as strong as Beast Emperors. A few of the councilmen watched nervously as they discussed the battle. Not good, retreat. Jia roared. On the screen, a tentacle fiercely pierced through the surface of the lake. Indeed. While Luo Feng and the others were retreating in the distant lake, a tentacle with a diameter of close to 20 m, its surface was completely covered in a rock-like wrinkled tentacle fiercely shot up into the sky. The length of the tentacle that came out of the lake was close to 1,000 m long, almost like a train connecting together. A 1,000 m long 20 m thick tentacle covered in wrinkled rocks, almost like the legendary golden cudgel of Sun Wukong. In an instant it waved about, engulfing everything within a few thousand meters. Rumble. The air exploded, huge waves formed on the surface of the lake, large amounts of water monsters were thrown into the air, some were smashed into meat paste, some died horribly, some were crippled. A beast emperor with just a wave of its tentacle, it was as though the heavens and earth were collapsing. Compared to the long vine life form from back then, it seems even more exaggerated. Luo Feng could smell the waving of the tentacle that seemed like it could pierce through the sky, emitting an extremely disgusting stench. It was similar to the stench of seafood and also the smell of earthworms. It was extremely pungent, making one want to vomit. Even though it was disgusting, the power of the tentacle was shocking. Even with our black god sets, if we were to be touched by this tentacle, there's an 80 to 90% chance that we'll lose our lives. Jia Yi looked at Luo Feng. Luo Feng, I advise you to put on an SS grade battle uniform on top of your black god set. No wonder you're all wearing battle uniforms. Luo Feng nodded. Jia Yi and the other 3 representatives were all wearing SS grade battle uniforms on the outside, and black god sets on the inside. With 2 layers of protection, it wasn't just Jia Yi and the other 3 representatives, the Star Traveler warriors floating in the air in the distance. Almost all of them had the same protection. Against this beast emperor, wearing the SS grade battle uniform definitely increases my chances of survival. Luo Feng nodded. The SS grade battle uniform, even though it couldn't completely disperse the force of impact to the entire body with the uniform, it could still reduce quite a bit of the impact. Luo Feng and the other 4 stared at the screen of their tactical communications watches. The beast emperor was huge, naturally they could see it clearly. As for Hong, he was just a red dot of light. Hong has rushed to the beast emperor's turtle shell. What an intense fight. Rumble. A human silhouette rushed out from the lake, it was the black-clothed man Hong. At this time Hong was wielding a silver-long spear, his eyes like lightning. The surrounding 100 m area was completely covered in black, almost like a god within this domain. Hong wielded the long spear, once again piercing through the surface of the water and diving into the depths. The second tentacle has broken. Zhu Shi beside couldn't help but exclaim. Hong has attached himself to the beast emperor's turtle shell. What's going on? What's going on? Luo Feng and the other 4 were shocked, because the red dot representing Hong on the display screen had disappeared. Luo Feng and the others looked at Jia Yi. Jia Yi shook his head, confused. I'm not sure, this device has never been used before. Usually as long as there's life, it'll be detected. There's life? We can't detect Hong, could it be that he's dead? Representative Tua Ba beside exclaimed softly. Look at the lake. Luo Feng shouted. Immediately, the few of them turned to look at the distant lake, only to see the already rumbling lake suddenly explode. Tentacles that seemed like they were about to pierce through the skies, a total of 7 or 8 tentacles broke through the surface of the water, crazily waving and rolling, without any pattern, it was purely a crazy dance. Large amounts of water monsters were affected, their blood dyeing the lake red. Nah. An ear-piercing and sorrowful sound resounded from the ground, causing the ground to tremble. So ear-piercing. The 30 Star Traveler warriors floating in mid-air couldn't help but cover their ears, their faces filled with pain. The tentacles that were originally filled with endless power began to slow down, after which they fell powerlessly into the lake. Even 2 tentacles landed in the wilderness beside, those heavy tentacles smashed into the ground, forming 2 deep trenches, quickly filling up the lake. It's dead. The Beast Emperor Tentacle Beast is dead. Look, on the screen the Beast Emperor's silhouette is getting dimmer and dimmer, its life force is rapidly decreasing so fast. It's gone. Under the watchful eyes of Luo Feng and the others, the huge silhouette of the Beast Emperor actually disappeared. A red light was extremely glaring. That was Hong. The lake's surface is rippling again. The 30 or so star travelers who were floating in the air all looked at the vast lake in unison. They saw the surface of the lake shake, and then a tentacle full of wrinkled rocks popped out of the water, followed by the black-clothed man Hong. Hong's right hand actually had a tens of meters long vine wrapped around the tentacle. Drag. The black-clothed man Hong flew into the sky. Including the tentacle, a body length of over 3,000 m was completely dragged out of the water, almost like a black floating island, appearing in the air above the lake. The 30 Star Traveler warriors, Earth's 5 great countries, the HR Alliance, the various headquarter cities' commanders, soldiers and workers were all stunned as they watched this scene. At the same time, this scene was transmitted to the entire Earth's various countries and organizations. Everyone was silent. The moment they saw the over 3,000 m long body of the Grand Emperor, almost everyone from the countries gathered around the lake, including the incomparably strong Star Traveler warriors, all felt their hearts stop beating and their blood stop flowing. It was unbelievable, it was too exaggerated. In the air above the lake, Hong dragged the Grand Emperor's body towards the wilderness and began to descend, letting the Grand Emperor's body land on the ground. Plop. The thick, 1,500-meter-long tentacles fell heavily on the wilderness, causing the entire wilderness to shake as if there was an earthquake. So strong. Luo Feng looked at the black-clothed Hong in midair. Even though Hong's face was pale, he didn't seem to be afraid. However, his eyes were bright, with a sense of joy. Hong floated in midair and surveyed his surroundings, Almost like an emperor surveying his territory, no one dared to meet Hong's gaze. Invincible in the Star Traveler level? I didn't expect him to be able to kill a sea-level Grand Emperor in the water. Luo Feng was shocked. Invincible in the Star Traveler level only meant he wouldn't be defeated by other Star Traveler level opponents. However, it didn't mean he could kill all Star Traveler level opponents. Just like how the high-level Horde leader's strength and speed were superior to the advanced level War God level humans, the monsters, due to the difference in race, naturally had the advantage in strength in other aspects. The Grand Emperor. In terms of body strength, it far exceeded Hong. And fighting in its best environment, the water, if Hong didn't have his own domain, any other Star Traveler level 6 fighter would probably be killed immediately. Hong had his own domain. He was known to be invincible in the Star Traveler level. If it was on land or in the air, he could kill his opponents. However, the moment he entered the water, his strength would decrease, while the monsters were much stronger than on land. One weakened, the other strengthened. Hence, in the water, Hong couldn't do anything to the Grand Emperor. And this time, with the Cloudcontact Vine, along with his grasp of the timing during the battle. Success. Grand Emperor, one day I'll be able to personally kill a Grand Emperor. Luo Feng looked at the distant god like Hong, his heart filled with endless desire. While Luo Feng and the other warriors were shocked by Hong's accomplishments, the governments of the various countries on Earth were itching. The Grand Emperor's corpse. This is Earth's first Grand Emperor corpse, a priceless treasure. Mr. President, our research team has never obtained a part of the Beast Emperor's body. I request Mr. President to negotiate with the Dojo of Limits to obtain a part of the Beast Emperor's body. I suggest that we immediately buy a portion of the Emperor corpses. We must first research the bone structure, skin structure, etc. of the Emperor corpses. Our HR Alliance is the world's largest weapons supplier. This time, we must research even more powerful weapons and battle uniforms to continue occupying the high-end market. The 5 countries, the HR Alliance and many others were all eyeing the corpse. One had to know that back in the day the first King-class monster corpse had allowed humans to invent SS-class combat suits and weapons, and even more advanced SSS-class combat suits and weapons. However, in terms of cost-performance ratio, SSS-class combat suits and weapons were too expensive. It was purely due to the accumulation of expensive materials, so almost no one bought SSS-class combat suits. If he had that kind of money, he might as well buy a Black God set. As for the first Beast King corpse, if he studied it carefully, he might be able to obtain great results. It was already dark. In the center of the Australian continent, in the vast wilderness, a corpse the size of a small mountain laid there. A black-clothed Hong stood beside it. Compared to the Emperor's corpse, he was as small as an ant. Lu Ha. Hong turned on his communicator. Head. Investigator Lu Ha, who was far away in Hong Ning headquarters city, replied. Dispatch the A1 research team and 2 special war god teams immediately. Hurry to Misty Island as fast as possible and meet me. Hong ordered. Yes, Head. Lu Ha replied. Not only that, Hong immediately ordered his 3 royal guards, beasts, to rush over. This way, his 3 royal guards would all be gathered here. At crucial times, Hong trusted these 3 royal guards the most. Yes, master. A low and thick voice resounded from the tactical communications watch. Brother Hong. A voice filled with ridicule rang out. Hong, whose face was pale and without a trace of blood, turned his head to look coldly. The person who came was the white-robed bald Thunder God. Thunder God smiled and raised his head to look at the huge corpse beside him. Brother Hong, I really admire you. You actually killed the Beast King. Hong only nodded. Damn, not humble at all. Thunder God couldn't help but blink helplessly. Hong looked at Thunder God, a bit helpless. The 2 of them were born before the Grand Nirvana period. Thunder God was mixed blood with Chinese and Indian blood. Thunder God's father was a yogi who once went to India to learn yoga. In India, he met Thunder God's mother. Then Thunder God's father returned to China. Thunder God had a mischievous personality since he was young, but under the influence of movies he really liked Chinese Kung Fu. Under his father's tutelage he had some achievements in yoga. Adding on the fact that he worked hard to learn Chinese Kung Fu, the name, Mad Thunder, was very famous in the martial arts circle. Many people in the Chinese martial arts circle knew of this mixed blood youth who really liked to challenge. When the Grand Nirvana period came, Thunder God combined Chinese martial arts and yoga to create the 9-stage Thunder Blade. Different from Thunder God, Hong was an assassin before the Grand Nirvana period. An assassin and a clown, a strange combination. Even though their personalities were different, they had one thing in common. They were both very strict with themselves. Being taught yoga by his father from a young age, Thunder God of course could endure hardship. Needless to say, Hong's experience as an assassin made his personality colder. During the Grand Nirvana period, the two's strength increased by leaps and bounds. Adding on a few fortuitous encounters and their own talents, their strength increased even faster. In terms of body foundation, Thunder God who had received excellent training since he was young was clearly stronger than Hong. And Thunder God who had systematic training, his speed of improvement had always been shocking. Body strength, speed, strength, and the efficiency with which he used his body, Thunder God surpassed Hong in all of them. Hong only had one thing, his comprehension was ridiculously strong. He had his own domain at the Star Traveler level. Naturally he became number 1 in the world. 2 people, one created the Dojo of Limits, the other created the Thunder Dojo. Even though the people under them were always competing, Hong and Thunder God didn't stop them. The two of them had gone through life and death situations together, of course they had a good relationship. The fighters under them competing with each other was beneficial to both sides. Brother Hong, you've already killed this Emperor Beast. There are still 2 more in the ocean, can you kill them? Thunder God asked. If we can kill them, it'll be much easier for us in the future. It's not the same. Hong shook his head. This lake is only 300 meters deep. Even though it's large to that Emperor Beast, one tentacle is 1,500 meters. In other words, in this lake, it's very hard for it to even flip its body. The depth of the lake limits its abilities. Plus it just became an Emperor Beast not long ago, so its efficiency with which it uses its body is rather low. That's why I was able to kill it in one move. And the 2 old fellows in the ocean, they both became Emperor level during the Grand Nirvana period, and then slowly grew to Emperor level. Those 2 Emperor Beasts experienced many battles in the ocean before they became Emperors. I don't know where this Tentacle Beast came from, it suddenly appeared. It has little experience, and its control over its strength is far from those 2 old fellows. Hong shook his head. Thunder God nodded. No rush, our strength is much stronger than those 2, they definitely won't dare come ashore. Hong said, wait until the day we step into the star level, or if my Cloudcontact Vine grows even stronger, then we'll have a chance. The Cloudcontact Vine is still very weak right now. Don't mention the Cloudcontact Vine to me, just mentioning it makes me jealous. Thunder God couldn't help but mutter, damn, to be able to find a Cloudcontact Vine on our Earth, your luck is really heaven-defying. Cloudcontact Vine. It was indeed a priceless treasure in the vast universe. The price of a Cloudcontact Vine was unbelievable. It was because of the universe knowledge that he knew the value of the Cloudcontact Vine. Back then Hong was so excited, even willing to give his spirit weapon to Luo Feng. Because from Hong's point of view, the spirit weapon was far from the Cloudcontact Vine. Luo Feng, gather at my place. Luo Feng received Hong's call. Luo Feng flew towards Hong's location. Looking down at the huge Emperor Beast's corpse, Luo Feng couldn't help but feel suspicious. In terms of strength, the head alone could kill the Emperor Beast. Why was he gathering him now? To Hong, having a few more representatives to help shouldn't make much of a difference. So, Luo Feng landed. Hong was standing beside the Emperor Beast's corpse. Beside him were his personal guards Allure and Ice Mountain. Head. Luo Feng landed. Luo Feng. Hong turned to look at Luo Feng, slightly nodding. I've already killed the Emperor Beast. The biggest problem in exploring the lake has been solved. The various countries' governments, the HR Alliance etc., and representatives, some have already begun exploring the lake. There are many more people who are doing preparatory work. I've already arranged for many people to come. Right now, the 3 of you immediately begin diving into the lake, search for the treasures within. Hong emphasized, the moment you discover a treasure, take it if you can. If you can't, immediately inform me. The golden masked Allure and Ice Mountain guards, along with Luo Feng, immediately complied. Of course, the moment you discover a treasure, the moment you successfully acquire it, the person who discovers the treasure will receive 30% of the reward. The person who obtains the treasure will also receive 30% of the reward. The last 40% will belong to the dojo. Hong emphasized, which means whoever discovers and obtains the treasure will receive 60% of the reward. Allure, the guards and Luo Feng all nodded. Being able to get 60% was already not bad. After all, once they obtained the treasure, they wouldn't have to be afraid of others stealing it, because they had Hong as their backer. Good, the 3 of you can leave now. Hong ordered. Yes. Luo Feng, Allure and Ice Mountain complied. They immediately became 3 beams of light and rushed towards the distant lake. In other directions there were quite a few representatives. Occasionally 1 or 2 would appear and fly towards the lake. A huge excavation that attracted the attention of the entire world had officially begun. Luo Feng, Allure and Ice Mountain's outfits were quite similar. They all wore battle uniforms on the outside and black god sets on the inside. However, Allure and Ice Mountain had an extra golden mask. Luo Feng put on the battle uniforms and boots after he returned to the auto jet after watching the battle between Hong and the Monster Emperor. The 3 of them flew side by side above the lake. Let's split up and search, said Royal Guard Allure. Alright, Ice Mountain's voice was as cold as ever. Alright. Luo Feng nodded. This misty lake has a circumference of at least 100 miles, such a large area. And the Monster Emperor was 3,500 meters underground, so the average depth of the lake is only 300 meters. Maybe the treasure is still at the bottom of the lake in the mud, soil or rock layers. Searching for it is extremely difficult. Luo Feng agreed with splitting up. Compared to the larger underground rock layer, I'll check this lake first. Luo Feng couldn't help but to glance into the distance. He saw a silhouette charging into the lake from a few thousand meters away. It was clearly another representative fighter. The true treasure of the Misty Lake is indeed alluring. Pudong. Water splashed up as Luo Feng directly charged into the lake. He wore his battle uniform on the outside and his black god set on the inside. He stood on the Soaring Shuttle and had 18 blades protecting his body, ready to attack at any moment. Luo Feng was armed to the teeth. Treasure? I don't even know what treasure it is, so how do I find it? Luo Feng's head hurt. As of now, none of the forces know what treasure it is or how many there are, so they can only search blindly. Thankfully, I'm a spirit reader. My spiritual force can spread out 200 meters around me and search. Spiritual force scanning is much more effective than radar scanning. And just like that, Luo Feng began his bloody treasure search. Last time he came to this misty lake, Luo Feng almost lost his life. And this time, Luo Feng can easily kill the so-called high-level horde leader monster with just a thought. Extremely easy. 32 minutes. With an astonishing speed, Luo Feng scanned over 80% of the lake. On the way he killed over 1,000 monsters and 13 horde leader monsters. Among them there were 2 high-level horde leader monster materials. Luo Feng used his spiritual force to put them into the bag formed by the Black God Set on his back. It sure is easy for a Star Traveler level spirit reader to earn money on Earth. Luo Feng, who gave up on the other horde leader monster materials, sighed to himself. Luo Feng, have you discovered anything in the lake? A voice came through the tactical communications watch. It was Enchanting's voice. I've already explored more than 36% of the lake. Nothing. I haven't discovered anything. Luo Feng said softly, I've scanned 80% of the area. In terms of probing ability, Star Traveler level warriors were definitely stronger than war gods because even Star Traveler level warriors could release their genetic energy. For example, Senator Far's body was surrounded by flames. For example, when Lan Ran and Jiangnan headquarter city tried to stop Luo Feng from killing Li Yao, the temperature of the surrounding air plummeted, and the fountain froze in an instant. Planetary state martial artists could control the energy within a certain range to search for treasures. Of course, Star Traveler level spirit readers have the strongest probing ability. Next are Star Traveler level fighters, then War God level spirit readers, and finally War God level fighters. War God level fighters can only pitifully look around with their eyes. Their efficiency is the lowest. You've scanned 80%, I've scanned 36%, and Ice Mountain has scanned 41%. None of us found anything. With the 3 of us combined, I estimate that more than 95% of the area has been explored. I think we should go underground and explore, communicated Enchanting. I agree, replied Luo Feng. At the same time, Enchanting, Ice Mountain, and Luo Feng, the 3 Star Traveler level fighters, swiftly rushed into the sky. They broke through the surface of the water and flew into the sky. After that, they flew towards the Misty Island ruins in the center of the lake. Luo Feng watched with his own eyes as War God level fighters jumped into the lake from their fighter jets. Even war gods are here to search for treasures, seriously? Luo Feng shook his head. Good thing they aren't stupid and entered the soil of the island to search. 4 war gods to encounter horde leader monsters in the middle of the lake is basically a joke. And the area that those war gods jumped into was an island in the middle of the lake not long ago. However, after a huge battle, quite a bit of the surface of the island was shaved off, and the rest of the island is under the water. You can't see it with your naked eye. Those war gods can quickly drill into the soil after jumping down. They can drill into the soil and rocks to search for treasures. It's rare to meet monsters in the rock layer, and even if they do, they're usually very weak. The soil and rock layer underground cover an even wider area, and the difficulty of exploring them is much harder than in the water, said Enchanting coldly. Same old method, we'll split up. I'll go first. Luo Feng decisively dove into the surface of the lake. Luo Feng was decisive and directly dove into the surface of the lake. After a mere 8 to 9 meters deep, Luo Feng plunged into the soil and rocks. His head was up and his feet were down. His feet automatically extended into sharp points and easily pierced through the soil and rocks below as he fell. Underground. It was completely dark. Searching for treasures underground might be difficult for others. Luo Feng's spiritual force spread out. Since he doesn't know what the treasures are, plants, minerals, life, or archaeological ruins. Since he doesn't know and doesn't have a target, his search is a bit slow. 3 hours later. At a depth of 2 to 3,000 meters underground, there was an underground river. The water was extremely turbulent, and with a ping, Luo Feng crashed through the rocks and fell into the river. This is the place. Last time I ate the 1,000-year willow heart, it was right next to this river. How nostalgic. Right now, I'll dig a hole and rest a bit. Luo Feng easily dug out a cave at a high point beside the underground river, immediately closing his eyes and sitting cross-legged. 3 hours of continuous exploration, with himself as the center, all around him in a 200 m radius. Even with enough spirit reading, his spirit was still very tired. What's that smell? Luo Feng, who was resting cross-legged, suddenly sniffed. A faint smell of rice entered his nose. The smell of rice? Luo Feng fiercely opened his eyes. Treasure. It might very well be a treasure. Having the smell of rice 2 to 3,000 meters underground is a very strange thing, and this strange thing might even be related to the treasure of the Misty Island. Luo Feng sniffed with his nose and dove into the underground river like a fish. Occasionally he would pop out of the river and sniff carefully. It's this direction. The smell is coming from this direction. Once he confirmed the direction, Luo Feng immediately followed the direction of the underground river and swiftly approached. As he got closer, the smell of rice became easier to smell. Rumble. Luo Feng followed this underground river and actually arrived at an even wider underground river. It seemed like the underground river just now was just a branch of this wider underground river. There are water monsters. Luo Feng scanned with his spiritual force and found, there aren't many of them, but most of them are quite strong. Luo Feng wasn't surprised at all. Back when he was in the Chinese base, Luo Feng saw the map on the screen. The average depth of the lake was 300 meters, and the deepest part was almost 1,000 meters. However, this was just the main data on the map. In reality, there are all sorts of tunnels between the lake and the underground. For example, if a monster the size of a monster emperor charged from 3,500 meters underground to the lake, Sometimes it would go to the lake and sometimes it would go underground. Because when the monster emperor moves like this, it will also create a tunnel that leads deep underground. On the screen, there were quite a few water monsters in the tunnel-shaped area. So Luo Feng wasn't surprised at all. The smell is coming from that side. Luo Feng swiftly flew up. Around 3 meters above the wide underground river, Luo Feng teleported to around 50 meters away. He stood on the surface of the lake and looked ahead. Above the dark underground lake, a translucent white crystal floated in midair. Because of this, the originally dark underground area had a weak light. This translucent white crystal was also emitting waves of rice fragrance, which made people want to drool. However, a large amount of water monsters in the underground lake stared at this white crystal. One of them even instantly jumped up and swallowed it. Luo Feng just saw the white crystal and then saw it get swallowed by a water monster. It happened in the blink of an eye. Something's wrong. Luo Feng didn't have time to worry about it as he looked at the scene in front of him with confusion. Why didn't the other water monsters jump up to fight for it? Quite a few of them are horde leader level monsters, so their intelligence isn't lower than humans. They aren't stupid, so there must be a reason. Shishi. In the river, the body of the shell-type water monster that jumped up and swallowed the white crystal started emitting a white light. Its entire body seemed to be expanding as it howled in pain. With a ping sound, the shell-type monster exploded. Its broken body and blood flew everywhere. An extremely alluring white crystal was still swaying as it floated above the surface of the lake. A group of water monsters surrounded the white crystal. All of them were extremely greedy, but none of them dared to swallow it. Luo Feng took in a deep breath as he saw this. That white crystal looked extremely mysterious, and its smell naturally made people drool. Who would have thought that it would be such a poison that you'll die after eating it? There's actually so many broken bodies in this lake. Luo Feng scanned with his spiritual force. Looks like quite a few monsters died from eating it. At this time. It's a treasure. Misty Island treasure. An English exclamation rang. 2 silhouettes came explosively from different directions. It's mine. Luo Feng's eyes flashed. With a thought, his spiritual force formed a formless hand and grabbed towards it. Luo Feng didn't dare to use his real hand to grab this strange thing. Peng. A huge white hand that was as big as a basin appeared out of nowhere and grabbed towards the crystal. It clashed with Luo Feng's spiritual force and both of them directly collapsed. Luo Feng, this belongs to me, Mo Henderson. Hurry and move away, an awkward Chinese roared. Third chairman, Ice Emperor Mo Henderson? Luo Feng's mind flashed through this person's information. Ice Emperor Mo Henderson, one of the 2 third-stage Star Traveler fighters on Earth. He was born in America and is currently the strongest fighter in the American government. Because his control over ice and snow has reached perfection, people call him the Ice Emperor. He's a super powerful fighter second only to Hong and Thunder God. This belongs to the Dojo of Limits. You dare to steal it? Are you looking to die? Luo Feng roared. The Soaring Shuttle immediately floated in front of him, ready to unleash his ultimate move at any time. In the underground river, 3 Star Traveler warriors stood in mid-air. Luo Feng, who are you talking to? A thick voice resounded. A man with a body built like a lion, almost like an emperor high above, looked coldly at Luo Feng. Mo Henderson, I discovered this thing first, please move aside. Luo Feng's expression was equally cold, not retreating a single step. Very good. Ice Emperor's face revealed a smile of anger. It's been a very long time since someone has dared to speak to me like that. A 20-year-old brat like you dares to be so presumptuous in front of me. Today I'll teach you a lesson on behalf of your head. Saying that, his gaze turned to another person not too far away. That representative looked at Mo Henderson, then at Luo Feng, squeezing out a smile. You too, peace is the most important. I won't be participating in this treasure. So, he retreated as fast as lightning. I'll let you make the first move, finish the battle within 3 seconds, that old punk will definitely inform the others outside. Finish it quickly, the Frost Emperor Mo Henderson said indifferently. Arrogant indeed, 3 seconds? Even 30 seconds isn't enough. Luo Feng extended his hand and pointed at Mo Henderson. I hope you don't lose even one move. Mo Henderson snorted coldly within. He was the 3rd chairman. Did he rely on other people's compliments to get there? Even the Star Traveler level 2 Spirit Reader Eastbourne lost to him. Why would he be afraid of a Spirit Reader that had just stepped into the Star Traveler level? He was the #1 person in America. He wasn't someone to be messed with. Mountain drill. Luo Feng's gaze was cold. The Soaring Shuttle immediately split into 365 blades, reassembling in an instant. It became a conical shape, the surface of which was a spiral-shaped weapon. The Soaring Shuttle's first form, Mountain Drill. The speed at which it split and reassembled was so fast that even a Star Traveler couldn't see it clearly. This was one of the basics of soaring. 12 golden threads immediately wrapped around the tip of the Mountain Drill. Activate. On. An ear-piercing sonic boom rang out, and space itself seemed to be disturbed. A beam of golden light instantly pierced through the 50-meter distance between the two, bringing with it a violent whirlwind. The Frost Emperor's expression changed drastically, and he punched out with his right fist as fast as lightning. The specially made glove on his fist had a ferocious sword spike. But the mountain drilling all was too fast. Frost Emperor Mo Henderson's fist barely brushed past the mountain drill. The mountain drill changed its trajectory slightly and pierced the Frost Emperor's abdomen. Ong. The mountain drill was still madly drilling. The piercing power of the mountain drilling all was enough to pierce through the Frost Emperor's SS-grade battle suit and tear it apart. Then it landed on the Ice Mountain Emperor's Black God set. The powerful penetrative power was reduced by 90%, and the remaining 90% was spread all over the Ice Mountain Emperor's body. Humph, the Ice Emperor snorted. His body involuntarily retreated 7 to 8 meters, his face slightly pale. What a strong body. LuoFeng was shocked. However, everything was still within his expectations. If the Star Traveler level 3 didn't have the Black God set, he would probably be killed by him. But with the Black God set it would be very hard to kill. You injured me. Frost Emperor Mo Henderson's gaze was cold. Now You're too slow, you can't hit me. LuoFeng grinned at Mo Henderson. Become a target. LuoFeng shouted coldly. Immediately, the mountain drilling all in front of LuoFeng became a beam of golden light. An ear-piercing sound resounded once again, creating a tornado-like energy wave. Mo Henderson didn't arrogantly stand there and take it head-on anymore. He swiftly retreated and waved both his fists. A low clashing sound. The tip of the mountain drilling all actually clashed with one of Mo Henderson's fists. Mo Henderson's face went pale again, his body retreating a few meters. The mountain drilling all speed, looks like even a Star Traveler level 3 can barely block it. LuoFeng's mind swiftly went through many thoughts. Luckily the mountain drilling all's powerful penetrative power doesn't rely on speed, but on the peculiar tearing penetrative power created by the golden threads. The mountain drilling all 20 meters to the left of Mo Henderson, once again resounded with a heart-palpitating sound. Shoo! The golden light clashed towards Mo Henderson. Gee! The third clash. Mo Henderson couldn't help but retreat. Blood leaked from the corner of his mouth. How can this LuoFeng's attack power be so strong? Even Eastbourne isn't much different from him. What's different from Eastbourne is that his weapon speed is too fast. It's much faster than Eastbourne's control of his weapons. The mountain drilling all attacked Mo Henderson again and again. Due to the mountain drilling all's terrifying force and shocking speed, Mo Henderson couldn't completely dodge it. This resulted in him being forced back a few meters every time he was hit. In that short period of time the mountain drilling all would attack again. It forced Mo Henderson to have no way of finding the time. Indeed, as LuoFeng had said, Mo Henderson had become a target. What do I do? What do I do? Mo Henderson swiftly thought. As the world's third strongest, he hadn't faced such a predicament in a long time. This LuoFeng punk's attack power was comparable to Eastbourne's. Even through the Black God set, it was enough to injure him lightly. And the attack speed was much faster than Eastbourne's control of his weapons. He could barely block it with his hands, but his body couldn't move at all. If he couldn't dodge, he would be hit. After being hit, his body couldn't help but be forced back. And in that short period of time, the mountain drilling all's new attack came. If this continued, the attacks would be endless. Are you going to move or not? LuoFeng shouted loudly. A sound that Mo Henderson hated so much resounded. I'll risk it. Mo Henderson was hit 12 times in a short 10 seconds. Finally he clenched his teeth and chose the stupidest yet most effective method. The 13th mountain drilling all became a golden light and once again attacked the pitiful target, Ice Emperor Mo Henderson. And this time, Mo Henderson didn't use his fists to block, but his palms. The two black palms on his left and right had long been waiting in front of him. When the golden light hit, Chi-Chi, the black palms suddenly expanded. The moment the golden light hit the black palms, the black skin of the black palms immediately closed up. Like a black cover, it actually trapped the Soaring Shuttle within. Pooh! Mo Henderson couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of fresh blood onto the river below. Relying on the extension ability of the Black God set, it was possible to trap the Soaring Shuttle within an instant of attack. However, the reason why Mo Henderson didn't want to use this method was because every time he was hit, his body couldn't help but be forced back. This was actually an instinctive way to reduce the impact and damage to his body. And when he was forced back, Mo Henderson would also move his body to the side to avoid the Soaring Shuttle. And trapping the Soaring Shuttle meant taking the full brunt of the damage. Even though the impact only increased by 50%, once it reached a critical point, every bit of increase in impact would cause a lot more damage to the body. Just this one attack was comparable to the previous 10 attacks. LuoFeng. Mo Henderson, who was trapped in the Soaring Shuttle, spat out blood. His eyes were about to spit fire and his mouth was full of fresh blood. He fiercely stepped on the mountain wall beside him. Rumble. With the explosive power of a Star Traveler level 3 stage fighter's legs, Mo Henderson's speed instantly rose to over 2,000 meters per second. Of course, he immediately let go of the Soaring Shuttle. If he didn't, the moment the Soaring Shuttle moved, he would be at a huge disadvantage. It's too fast. LuoFeng immediately rushed upwards. There were rocks above him. The rocks were as weak as tofu. LuoFeng directly rushed into the rock layer. Once a spirit reader is in the rock layer, in terms of agility and speed, a fighter can't compare at all. LuoFeng, come out if you have the ability. Ice Emperor Mo Henderson was completely infuriated. He hasn't been at such a disadvantage in a long time. After being hit so many times. In the end, he had to endure the heavy injuries to gain the upper hand. If you have the ability, come in. LuoFeng's voice resounded. Whoosh. From a few hundred meters away, LuoFeng's body smashed through the rock wall. With a shocked expression, he looked at the white crystal floating above the river. At this time, it had already been swallowed by a water monster. When Luo Feng was escaping earlier, he noticed a water monster, Earth Dragon, swallowing the white crystal. However, Luo Feng didn't think much of it. He believed that Earth Dragon would explode and the white crystal would return. However, Luo Feng's spiritual force spread out and discovered that the Earth Dragon wasn't dead. What's going on? Mo Henderson's expression changed. You don't even know that a treasure was eaten by a water monster. Luo Feng mocked. However, he was carefully looking at the Earth Dragon in the river. The Earth Dragon was actually a type of earthworm that evolved into one of the most terrifying types. They were usually at the Horde leader level. Among the Emperor level monsters, there was even an Earth Dragon King. Mo Henderson looked coldly at Luo Feng. After being hit by Luo Feng over 10 times, it was like a normal person getting kicked over 10 times. How could he not feel hatred? What's more, Mo Henderson was the high and mighty Ice Emperor. Others couldn't even speak disrespectfully to him, much less be humiliated like this. The strong could endure humiliation, but they definitely couldn't forget. The only thing was, Luo Feng's weapon made him wary. At this time, the two stared at the Earth Dragon in the lake. The Earth Dragon's body was constantly expanding. There was a faint white glow. The rice fragrance was extremely thick. It was the source of the Earth Dragon's fragrance. The white crystal must have been eaten by the Earth Dragon. Mo Henderson wasn't a spirit reader. How could he constantly pay attention to the treasure? The monsters didn't eat it earlier. Mo Henderson wasn't worried about them. He thought that if they wanted to eat it, they would have done it long before he and Luo Feng arrived. So his only opponent was Luo Feng. Suddenly, the 50-meter-long Earth Dragon fiercely raised its head and howled. Chi-chi. A single horn grew out of its forehead. The Earth Dragon that was originally glowing with white light suddenly began to convulse. Its body swiftly expanded. Single horn. Mo Henderson was shocked. Emperor level. Luo Feng was shocked too. A middle-level Horde leader-level monster ate the white crystal and directly evolved into an Emperor-level monster? How is that possible? Luo Feng was completely shocked. Suddenly a thought flashed through his mind. Back then there was no fame at all. Did the Emperor tentacle monster that suddenly appeared eat the white crystal and evolve?